What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, DeMar DeRozan has opened up and has spoken about his departure from the Chicago Bulls, and I want to talk about it because when DeMar DeRozan speaks, it doesn't often happen. He likes to keep things in-house more often than not, at least from my perspective. So when he does speak and when he does actually open up about his basketball life, even his personal life at times, I think it holds a lot of merit and it's something that I think can impact a lot of people. So I want to talk about it, obviously talk about whether or not it makes sense and everything in between. There is a lot of quotes in there, but I'm not going to go too much into detail about the quotes. I'm going to go based on what I think has come out from this podcast and ultimately just discuss my opinions on it, because that's ultimately the goal. But before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. And the question that I have for you guys today is, will you miss DeMar DeRozan on the Chicago Bulls? Now, I think this is a question that hindsight plays a big factor in, because ultimately, or maybe even recency bias is the word for it, because I think a lot of people are going to start missing DeMar DeRozan very, very soon, if not miss him already. Just by the fact that he's not on the Bulls anymore. But obviously at the time that he was playing, a lot of people wanted him to leave the Chicago Bulls. And look, I will miss DeMar DeRozan, there's no question about that, but I ultimately think it is the right decision to see him go to the Sacramento Kings, to go to a winning environment. I think Sacramento's going to love him over there. I think he's going to have a passionate fan base supporting him, tooth and nail. And ultimately, I know Sacramento didn't have the most amazingly winning season you could possibly have, but they got a good squad over there. If they could find a way to make things click with a big risk, could end up being a big reward for them. I'm very excited to see what Sacramento can do for this upcoming season. But now to get on to the main topic of this video, DeMar DeRozan obviously departing from the Chicago Bulls. What did he have to say about it? Well, firstly, the big thing he had to talk about was the young guys and being part of their success. Basically suggesting that he worked very hard, even against injuries, even against everything, because the young guys on that team worked hard. He talked about wanting to see them succeed and even seeing them succeed in many ways, and how he wanted to be a part of that success. In many ways, this is a good thing, and it makes me feel quite bad as well, seeing and hearing DeMar DeRozan say stuff like that. So let's get started with obviously seeing the young guys work so hard. I think DeMar DeRozan, I don't know if he will take credit for this or not, but he should take credit for this. I think that work ethic comes from what he brings to the table. You've seen what young guys, there are a bunch of young guys out there that don't work hard or don't work hard enough in the NBA. Look, I'm not going to be the person to judge them, based on my work ethic or anything like that. I'm not in the NBA. I don't have that work rate to get into the NBA or even the level or the skill. But DeMar DeRozan does. And one thing that is always credited to him and his success is the durability and the work ethic that he has day in and day out, off season, in the middle of the season, at the beginning of the season, at the end of the season. DeMar DeRozan is always hooping. He's always showing his work ethic. So when he talks about the young guys working so hard, it gives me great faith that these young guys will continue to learn from DeMar DeRozan even in his departure, and has learnt enough from DeMar DeRozan to know that work ethic does take you a long way. So when I look at guys like Kobe White and DeMar DeRozan, guys like Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Patrick Williams, Dalen Terry, I look at these young guys, and if they have learnt that work ethic from DeMar DeRozan, I have more faith in them developing into the players that I know that they can be. But what's the sad part about this? Well, ultimately, DeMar DeRozan, maybe he'll be part of their success personally, but on a team basis, he will not be here to see them succeed. If we do end up surprising a lot of people, maybe winning a whole bunch of games this season, or maybe in 3-4 years time, you see Kobe White develop into a superstar caliber player, Ayo turns into one of the better starters in the league, Patrick Williams finally coming into his own, or whatever the case may be, whatever stories, whatever the future may hold for us, DeMar DeRozan on a team level will not be part of that, and that does suck to see, and there is a little bit of a bad emotion there when it comes to DeMar DeRozan, and obviously how much he loved these young guys, but at the end of the day, doesn't really get to be part of that success, I guess, on a team level. But there will always be the personal level. I hope, and I'm very positive that they'll all keep in contact with DeMar DeRozan, even on the Kings. And again, there's much more to learn from a guy like DeMar DeRozan. So that was the basis of a lot of what he had to say when it comes to leaving the Chicago Bulls. He really talked about the young guys and how much he really wanted to see them thrive. And it made perfect sense. And there was many, many examples of him in the offseason showing how much he liked these young guys and how much he wanted to improve them. So everything makes sense so far. And then when it comes to actually getting traded, it was part of the process of talking about the young guys, but he kind of mentioned something very interesting, basically saying he wanted things to really turn around quickly. He wanted to try and salvage the season, even if it wasn't necessarily going his way, with injuries and, just really bad form, maybe bad coaching. I know he didn't say that, but I'm sure that's part of it. Whatever the case may be. Trying to salvage something, because he knows and the Bulls know that if things went wayward, which they did, that the Bulls front office would have to make a decision, which they did. So basically, he knew what was coming for the Chicago Bulls. He knew if things weren't going to change, that decisions would have been made. And that's exactly what turned out to be the case. And DeMar DeRozan was kind of one of the guys that was sacrificed in that way. It's a bit of an interesting development, but I want to take you back to something that one of our other Bulls players said, and that was Nikola Vucevic. Nikola Vucevic said something very similar, but this was all the way at the beginning of last season. And I've mentioned this before, but I feel like it's important to mention again. He said pretty much outright that this is the last chance for the Bulls to really make something of themselves. Otherwise, things are going to have to change. He said that from the very beginning. He said this is the last chance for this core to do something. He said it was their last chance to be successful. The Bulls stuck to their word. AK, who said that to Vucevic when re-signing his contract, I'm sure he said it to DeMar DeRozan, and I'm pretty sure he may have said it to Zach LaVine as well. Basically, they said this is your last chance to make something happen. Lo and behold, that chance was not taken that well. We did fail, we did lose, we did fall out in the playing tournament, and things had to change. Now, is the change what I wanted it to see, what I wanted it to be? Ideally, I think things could have been better, but again, we don't live in a fantasy land. It's not out here in NBA 2K25 trying to trade, override everybody and get the best team available. We can't do that. So, yes, I think things could have gone better, but at least the decision has been made. And DeMar DeRozan was part of that decision. And we know for a fact that Zach LaVine will be part of that decision eventually. And I think Nikola Vucevic, whether we like it or not, will be part of that as well. So basically, he called it, is what I'm trying to say. And Nikola Vucevic mentioned it all the way at the beginning of last season. So the Bulls do have transparency with their players. They said it's their last chance, and it was their last chance. So we'll wait and see how many more things that we could get from these players. Maybe players can start speaking about these things, because maybe you can start to trust what they're saying could be true. Let me know in the comments below what you think. But, of course, to DeMar DeRozan, I don't know how many times I'll get the opportunity to talk about DeMar DeRozan again. I know we could talk about him during the regular season. Maybe he can have some quotes here and there about the Bulls that we can get to discuss. But it's going to be very difficult to not mention DeMar DeRozan anymore. Again, we're going to this new look team. There's new players we could talk about. And of course, time will move on. Videos will be made. DeMar DeRozan will eventually... It'll become easier to not mention DeMar DeRozan. But right now, as we speak, it still doesn't kind of feel real that DeMar DeRozan has left the Bulls. I think it might feel real once the beginning of the season really comes, or maybe even preseason, and you actually see the full team out there. But I just want to wish DeMar DeRozan the best in the last couple of seconds of the video, man. Good luck to DeMar DeRozan in Sacramento. Sacramento has always been a likable team for me. So seeing him go to a team that I quite like as well is always a nice feeling. It's out west as well. I think the West is such a great conference compared to the East, to be honest. I'm very, very supportive of the move, and I cannot wait to see that Kings team play, and I cannot wait to see if DeMar DeRozan can take his game to another level, because I feel like for the Bulls, he played some of his best basketball he's ever played. Yes, the team wasn't successful, but he was successful, and at the end of the day, can that be taken to a whole new level? That's what I'm looking forward to as well. Anyway, have a wonderful and safe day, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.